So have you ever looked at a photo that had very few elements in it, and yet there was something engaging about it, something that just kept you looking at it, kept your attention? These minimalist type photos, I think, can be very interesting, although they are kind of a challenge to create. And it's really kind of photography by subtraction as you get to a scene, trying to figure out what elements you can remove in order to go about and create a final image. So I thought we'd do in today's video, since we just had this great late season snow, we've got some really nice clean backgrounds. We should be able to find some pretty interesting compositions. In fact, just looking around behind the camera, a few other places, I can see some things that look definitely pretty good. So let's see what we can find as we walk around. Right behind where I had the camera set, I saw these pine branches sticking out of the snow. I thought this would make a pretty nice minimalist photo if I could eliminate some of that clutter in the background. My first thought was to just try to work with these first two branches and have a little bit of fade off in terms of focus towards the back. The problem was with the other things sitting behind it, the crop was just a little bit too tight. Yeah, I could use AI and add a little bit of additional to the top, but didn't really want to do that, especially for this video, which was all about minimalism. So I thought maybe working with that front branch would really be the answer. And so when I did that, I was able to just reposition myself a little bit and get a much cleaner look. And I do kind of like this. I think ideally I'd crop this into maybe more of a 16 by 9 and actually center that branch a little bit more. But I thought maybe I want to do this more as a portrait. And when I did that, I really did like just kind of the flow that I had coming from the lower left, or lower right rather, to the upper left. And I think that worked pretty nice, but I still could not get the initial set of branches out of my head. And I thought that was really, I think, the photo that I wanted. And when I look at this one, the thing about this is, yeah, there's more elements in this frame, but it's still pretty minimalist in that all you have are the branches and the white snow. And so I think that works pretty well together and still gives me a pretty nice minimalist photo. So I was pretty happy with this final composition. I've got 4 branches instead of 3. You could say, well, maybe you want to remove that top one, but I think that does add a little bit of balance to the photo. So don't really want to do that. I do have the 3 pine cones, which does give that rule of odds to this photo. So I think of the different compositions I came up with, I think this is the one that I like best, although I did like the landscape for the single branch as well. I think I would just have a little bit of different crop for it. So here's another example. I've got this bridge. I've got some tracks going through it. And realistically, this is probably the type of scene that I would probably shoot. I'd probably come down a little bit like this, but if I'm looking for a more minimalist approach to this, maybe I just want to work with those deer tracks. So just zoom in a little bit and just get some of those coming through. Maybe just give just a little bit of a hint of where they're going. And so I think this could be another one that could be pretty interesting to go and see what I can make out of it. I'm looking closer at these tracks and trying to eliminate those shadows at the top. There's still those other tracks that are going across the top of the frame that I think still need to be eliminated. So my first thought was to actually angle down a little bit and capture that little bit of a wiggle in the tracks before they straighten out. It gives a little bit of a vertical look. I think it does a nice job of just sort of leading the viewer up towards the top of the frame. And I do like the fact that the focus fades off just a little bit. But I thought maybe eliminating that bottom track and just having more of an arc that allows me to go more towards the corner. And I think I like that a little bit better, although both photos I think provide just kind of a nice minimalist view. So I think this tree can make another pretty nice minimalist subject. Got a pretty plain sky behind it. We've got this trail going up to it. I think I'd like to get a little bit closer and lower and see if I can isolate it more from those trees in the background. So I think that's kind of my plan for this one. It's also a good example of how it doesn't have to be a tiny object in order for it to be a minimalist photo. Moving over to the left and getting a lot lower, I was able to really reduce that tree line in the back, and that had a really nice effect of adding a minimalist feel to a photo that has a pretty large subject, and the sky itself is admittedly pretty busy as well. But I think it still qualifies as a minimalist photo, just given the fact that there's really just one subject here with really kind of a nice background. As always, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, found it kind of interesting, at least how I approach getting some nice minimalist photos. You don't necessarily need to do this in the wintertime. You can do it really pretty much any time of year, but I just really love when we have some of the snow that just helps to really clean up the overall environment. So if you like this video, please give it a like. If you want to know about more videos, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And I try to put one out about once a month, sometime between the 12th and the 17th. Sometimes a little early, sometimes a little late. Just kind of depends on what else is going on at the time. So let me know if you do something different, if there's a different type of season that you prefer. And I'll see you next time. Bye.